Hi, this is Asa, and welcome to my audio experience. If the body can get sick, it can also get well. Lifestyle is the medicine. So the choices that we make every single day can and will determine the kind of health we're going to have. So our choices matter. And the choices we make every single day, they matter. So we want to help you and equip you and give you all the tools that you need to be able to thrive, to be able to make it, to be able to do really, really well. And on this show, to become the best version of you. Let's kick off and go with Peyton. Hi, Peyton.
I just wanted to discuss sleep issues that I've had for a number of years. See if you might have any suggestions. I've tried a lot of different supplements to help me with my sleep.
Okay. Well, sleep is it's challenging, but it's not, okay? Because it's multifaceted. It's not just, hey, you can't sleep, take this herb and you'll go to bed, right? Or because I mean, how many people do you know that take a really strong medication, some of the most popular ones out there, and they can't sleep still? So that tells you that it's not really an issue with chemical as far as like, hey, you're nutritionally deficient, you need this, or you just need magnesium and it'll make you fall asleep. Like, there's more to the story. And when somebody has a lot of emotional stuff going on, when there's a lot of emotional turmoil and trauma that's happening with someone, then they start having issues. And when you start solving the challenges that people have mentally and emotionally, believe it or not, through counseling, if they have to go through that, or just getting stuff off of their chest when they go through counseling, when you go through that, then a lot of times the sleep issues resolve. So I would encourage you that if you can't sleep, look at your life, okay? Look at what's going on, whether it's your marriage or no marriage or children or grandchildren or whatever it might be. Look at that and look and see really what's there and figure out if that's the case or not. Is there a certain level of pain that you're going through that's keeping that from happening? What is it? Because it's got to be something. It's got to be, something is driving that. It's not just something so simple. Something's driving it. So I would encourage you more than anything to look deep in that. Now, magnesium, I'll tell you this, it's kind of a go-to. I still recommend getting tested at some level, some blood testing at some level, but to figure out if you're magnesium deficient. A lot of times magnesium is what we call subclinical, so you can't even see it on the labs. But people aren't getting enough magnesium. And when that happens, that becomes a bit of a challenge. And a lot of times you correct that and you'll correct a lot in that whole world. So magnesium, that's a big deal, is to give the body kind of what it needs and then watch the body respond. It's pretty amazing how that happens. But it definitely happens, and it happens very, very quickly. So magnesium glycinate is usually the one, or 3-8. Are the two different versions of magnesium that tend to work the best when you got sleep issues, because one works on the muscle and one works on the brain cells, and the brain crosses the blood-brain barrier. So look at those two. Those can be super helpful. Okay, 888-283-7272. That's 888-283-7272. Check us out on the web. Go to asarx.com. We're here for you. If you haven't checked out the podcast, please do. Go to any of iTunes, Stitcher, Pandora, Spotify, any of those. You can see the podcast there. Download it, subscribe, be a part of it. And then also don't forget our free book that we're giving. So we're giving a copy of my book out absolutely free. We pay for the book. You pay for a little bit of shipping and handling. We send it right to you. And then you can get started right in the game plan. That is the starting point for sure. If you want to learn how to live a healthier lifestyle, all this stuff I talk about is condensed in one book to make a difference, to make an impact, and to really help you to be able to thrive and not just barely make it. And we want to see you really do well, not just sit around and ho-hum it. We want to see you crush it. That's what this thing's about. All right, food flavors come from surprising sources. I bet you never thought about this. You know, I always say the food flavors and like the colorings and all that. Be careful of that with your kids. A lot of people are really like allergic to it in a lot of ways. So when a lemon is not a lemon, what's lemon flavor? The flavorings around many foods and beverages come from surprising sources. U.S. Food and Drug Administration said you can find out what's really in your foods by checking out product labels. Just because a label says maple cereal doesn't mean it contains any maple syrup. It could be because maple-like flavoring that comes from a maple tree sap or bark could even come from an herb commonly used in Indian dishes called fenugreek. So the cereal also can have artificial maple flavorings that doesn't come from any natural source at all. So FDA said it's not really regulated as long as it's on the ingredient list that they approve. So the FDA regulations allow companies to use terms like maple flavored or artificially maple flavored on labels of foods and do not contain the actual ingredients. So the foods just have to contain some type of food or some type of maple flavoring for them to use that. And labels must declare if the flavor comes from an artificial source or not. Not everyone's concerned about that either. Some people just blow it off. But people want to be certain a food is made with a certain ingredient. They should look for a specific mention of the item in the ingredient list. So, for example, when buying grapefruit juice, look for the words grapefruit or grapefruit juice to make sure that that's where it's coming from. So, the director of the FDA Food Labeling Standards Staff, Felicia Billingsley, said that the consumers have long recognized that products like chocolate pudding, cake, and cookies may be made with cocoa. Billingsley said if cocoa is listed on the ingredient list, the name of the food can include the term chocolate in certain situations. So they have to use that in order to say certain words. So again, they're just regulating to make sure there's no claims or false claims that can be lined up in there. So interestingly enough, that's how they look at it, and that's exactly how they work it and they word it. So it's interesting to see how that game is played, because every company that does anything with food is looking for one little angle to not have to use, maybe to put an ingredient in, but can use the word for marketing purposes, because we know that the marketing on the food packaging is what grabs everybody. Of course, it's got to taste a certain way and all that, but the marketing of the packaging is what's really the most interesting. 888-283-7272. Give us a call. Go to the website. Go to asarx.com. If you haven't got a free copy of the book, go check it out. Go to myfreehealthbook.com, myfreehealthbook.com. You can get it there. And also coming up, I've got some keys you don't want to miss about smartphone use. And it's a link to some health challenges that we're facing. Look, we're in a time now where we use smartphones every day. 86% of the world population has a cell phone. Think about that. So we're almost global with everybody in that category. So we're going to talk about some of the dangers of that when we come back. Hi, it's Asa. I'm giving you a copy of my best-selling book for free to help you in your health journey today. I'll pay for the book. All you do is just cover the small shipping and handling costs. Go to asarx.com and get your free book today.
To find out more, connect with On Call Radio online at InShapeNetwork.com.
Welcome back to the show, 888-283-7272. That's 888-283-7272. What are you struggling with? Let's talk about it. Your health, your life. Remember, if the body can get sick, it can also get well. Lifestyle is the medicine. So choices we make every single day can and will determine the kind of health we're going to have. You can thrive. You can really make it. And you can do very, very well. We want to see you do well, not just barely make it with what we're doing here. We want to see you thrive, to live your potential, become the best version of you. So give us a call, we'll make you part of the show. And then also don't forget Healthy University, something you should look at. Go to our website, check it out. It's our community, and it's also our platform to be able to teach you all about what healthy even means, to take you from where you are to where you need to be. Because look, you can't achieve your goals in life. You can't make the money you want in life. You can't do everything you want to do in life, to be your best parents and grandparents and all that, unless you have your health. Health is the vehicle to pursue your goals. Health is the vehicle to be able to facilitate and complete all that you're wanting to complete. And that's what this show's all about, helping you do that. Let's get on the phones and talk to Terry. Hi, Terry.
Hello. I'm calling on behalf of my husband, who has been suffering gastrointestinal distress here for about 7 days. He's had diarrhea, cramping, just can't even keep the blandest of foods, kind of in and remaining settled. We've tried scrambled eggs and toast, oatmeal and rice milk, and bananas, and he's functioning every day and going to work, but just waking him up in the night and just can't be good. Nothing is staying where it should. I can't believe his body's able to extract much of the nutrition it needs out of what he's putting in. So I'm wondering if you might have any ideas or recommendations. We're thinking if it was food poisoning, it should have passed. If it were some kind of bacterial intestinal flu, he would have had aches, pains, fever, rather than just this ongoing now kind of condition. But maybe we just need to give it 10 days. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, with something like that, if he's got a gastro, it could be something simple. I mean, it could just be an irritation, could be a virus, a lot of could be's. I would definitely have it looked at by his primary care and tested. You can even have a stool sample done, and they can figure out exactly what's happening. Or because if it's been going on that long, that's a little bit long to be consistent. So there's some other factors that can be looked at, but I would definitely have it stool sample or culture done to see what the number, or see what it shows. Because again, it could be nothing, it could be something. So you just want to get it looked at, and that way everything can be ruled in and ruled out. It's not like something you just want to take bentonite clay and ionic silver and just sit there and take it and, no, let's hope it works out. It's usually good to go in and get it looked at. Now, if they tell you it'll resolve or it doesn't look like much or whatever they tell you, then you can start looking at more of the natural options, but I would definitely get it looked at first. You just need a baseline for what it is. You need them just to give you a good baseline for what's actually there. And then once you get that, then you'll be able to get a good overview of really what's happening. Okay. But keep me posted. I want to understand, kind of walk with you through that process. So let me know how it goes. 888-283-7272. That's 888-283-7272. Give us a call or go to the website. Go to asarx.com. Now, I talk a lot about smartphone usage. We're seeing it more and more. The challenges. Now we're getting into a time period where most people have had smartphones over about a 6-year period, at least. Many more for me, I know, but for others, they're saying that's kind of the gold standard. And the daily smartphone use, they're saying, offers clues to a lot of the depression. Now, depression is becoming one of the number one diagnosed conditions in the country. So a new study suggested how you use your smartphone could shed light on whether you might suffer from depression. Involving about 20 women and 8 men, they averaged 29 years of age, and looked at the data from people's phones to track the number of minutes they use their phone, as well as their locations throughout the day. And the researchers at Northwestern University, Feinberg School of Medicine in Chicago found they tracked 2 weeks of phone use and GPS data from the 28 participants. And the more time a person spent on their phone, the more likely they were to be depressed. Think about that. According to the team led by clinical psychologist David Moore, who directs the University Center on Behavioral Intervention, said, for example, average daily smartphone use by those with depression is 68 minutes, compared with only 17 minutes with those without depression, the team found. Also, the GPS data showed that people who were depressed tend to spend more time at home and at fewer locations compared to people who weren't depressed, who were out and about doing their day-to-day schedule, going from place to place and doing their thing. So overall, the smartphone data was 87% accurate in spotting people with symptoms of depression, they found, and this was in the Journal of American Internet Research. All right, Moore said in the university news release he believes this simply by looking at phone data, we can detect if a person has depressive symptoms or not. And what's more, phones can provide unobtrusively and with no effort the part of the user and the data. So 2 experts in psychiatric health took a more cautious view. Dr. Aaron Pinkasoff, who's the chair of the Department of Behavioral Health in Mineola, New York, said that this is a major issue. And the study sample slanted heavily toward older women who tend to have higher rates of depression. He also believes that physicians and patients should rely and be wary of relying too much on technology and self-diagnosis with the smartphone. And that's becoming more and more. I mean, I go into clinics now, and it's like, don't rely on Dr. Google, right? Stop Googling your condition and coming up with what you think you have. Go to your doctor, let them figure it out. I agree with that. I mean, it's one thing to just get on the rabbit trail and figure you have some kind of wild condition, some major genetic disorder that only 3 people in the whole world have because you have these symptoms, and you go to the doctor and you figure out it was gas. I mean, right? So it's like that happens all the time. So you really got to be cautious. Let the doctors be doctors. Do your research so you're kind of in the know and have an idea, but don't come in there I know what it is. Oh, I've got this. Oh, I need this medication. Like, really? Okay. 888-283-7272. You're listening to Asa Rx. Go to asarx.com. You can easily jump in, and of course, we got a free book there you can get. Go to myfreehealthbook.com. We'll send you a copy, as well as you just got to cover the shipping. And we'll pay for the book, send it to you. It's a hardback copy. It'll give you a real encouragement to where you are right now with your health. Lisa in Bloomington, Illinois, said, my doctor has diagnosed me with low thyroid function and wants to put me on Synthroid. What do you think? I think that you should look into iodine treatment and see if you're deficient. Get your doctor to check that. That's what I think. Are you ready to chow? It's time for Keto Chow. When it comes to eating healthy, the keto diet has become one of the nutrition leaders in optimizing health, losing unwanted weight, and reaching your health and wellness goals. No extravagant cooking, no long kitchen cleanup, and most importantly, especially for me, it's convenient. Just put quality Keto Chow powder in a bottle, add some heavy whipping cream or your favorite fat, a little water, and boom, shake it up and you're ready to chow. Keto Chow tastes amazing. So make Keto Chow easy for you and your family today with Keto Chow. Let's go chow. Visit Keto Chow online at ketochow.xyz. That's ketochow.xyz.
To find out more, visit the show online, InShapeNetwork.com.
Two 888-283-7272. That's 888-283-7272. What are you struggling with? Let's talk about it. Your health, your life. Remember, if the body can get sick, it can also get well. Lifestyle is the medicine. So the choices that we make every single day can and will determine the kind of health we're going to have. It's all about lifestyle. It's all about choices. And really, it's all about what you decide to do each and every day. We want to help you, encourage you, and equip you to be able to thrive with your health. And on this show, we can do that. Have you ever been a big fan of cabbage? I want to jump in and talk about this food a little bit. Just about every food has been studied. Foods are medicine. In the United States, we don't have a lot of journaled studies on foods, but in Europe, they've done a ton of it, so it's really easy to gather the research. British Medical Journal is fantastic, by the way. So cancer prevention tops all other areas when it comes to cabbage. There's been more than 475 studies that have examined the role of this cruciferous vegetable in cancer prevention and in some cases cancer treatment. The uniqueness of cabbage in cancer prevention is due to three different types of nutrients found in it. It's antioxidant rich, anti-inflammatory rich, and it's rich in what's called glucosinolates. Now, the antioxidant related benefits of cabbage are pretty strong. So cabbage ranks in the rating system of all the foods as an excellent source of vitamin C and is a very good source of manganese. But in terms of antioxidants, in the newer phytonutrient category, cabbage is impressive even among all the cruciferous vegetables. Polyphenols rank at a top for the list of phytonutrient antioxidants in cabbage. In fact, one group of researchers have described polyphenols as the primary factor in cabbage's overall antioxidant capacity. So even white cabbage is a very light-colored form of green cabbage. And the most commonly eaten variety of cabbage in the U.S. provides about 50 milligrams of polyphenols in a half-cup serving. Red cabbage is even more unique among the cruciferous vegetables, providing about 30 milligrams of the red pigment. So these anthocyanins qualify not only for antioxidant nutrients, but also as anti-inflammatory nutrients as well. The antioxidant richness of cabbage is partly responsible for its cancer prevention. So something to really think about. Chronic oxidative stress, which is what we see, in and of itself can be a risk factor in the development of cancer itself. So anti-inflammatory benefits, there's a lot. So without sufficient intake of anti-inflammatory nutrients, regulation of our inflammatory system can be compromised. And we can experience the problem of chronic inflammation, especially when combined together with oxidative stress and chronic inflammation. It's a risk factor for development of cancer. The anthocyanins found in red cabbage are well documented in this case. Now, these glucosinolates I'm talking about, what are those? Well, they're really big on cancer prevention. So given the roles of oxidative stress and chronic inflammation as risk factors for cancer, the antioxidant and anti-inflammatory richness of cabbage would provide anti-cancer health benefits without the addition of cabbage's glucosinolates. But glucosinolates are found, and here's the deal. What they really help against are things like bladder cancer. There are a lot of the estrogen-based cancers, okay? bladder cancer, breast cancer, colon cancer, and prostate cancer. Now, if you don't know much about the colon cancer, it's second leading cause of cancer. So number 1 is lung. If you didn't know that, number 2 is colon. So we get hung up in breast and prostate because we hear about it all the time, but the reality is lung is number 1 still worldwide. And then number 2 is colon. Do you think about it? Air quality and the food quality. And then everything else kind of stems after that. But those are your main cancers right there that people struggle with. And those are ones you definitely don't want to have, right? No fun. I've watched so many people, loved ones, go through the process, and it's not a fun process to watch. And it's definitely not, I'm sure, to be the one going through it either. So it becomes a big challenge for anyone that has to face that. So your habits, folks, your habits are so important. The food you eat every single day, the choices you make, the relationships you keep, the exercise you do or don't do, all of that makes a difference in impacting your overall health. It really does. So that's the big key. Now, we're talking about cabbage and its benefits. Got a lot of benefits. We're talking about digestive tract support too. Go to asarx.com. You can find more information. I talk about this sort of thing in the articles and blog and whatnot. Go to asarx.com. You can check it out. But it's got great digestive tract support. So we're talking about cabbage and what it can do. It's strong anti-cancer, strong immune system, strong for cardiovascular. We're going to talk about in just a minute. But it's got a long established health and research in the role of cabbage juice helping with stomach ulcers. So these peptic ulcers that people get, cabbage juice can help to relieve that and help make it work better. So the nutrients of these glucosinates can be helpful. ITCs are made for them, antioxidant polyphenols and amino acid substances called glutamine. Glutamine's huge, by the way. And in the case of these ITCs, digestive tract benefits include proper regulation of bacterial populations of things like Helicobacter pylori. Okay, H. pylori, you ever heard of that? Well, cabbage and cabbage juice is great at working with that and defending against it. So cardiovascular support's another big one. This one I really get excited about. Anytime I can find a food that does so much, can help so much, and just do so much, that's really the main game plan. All right, so you can count on cabbage to provide a couple things. Number 1 is cardiovascular system with valuable support in the form of cholesterol reduction. Researchers understand exactly how this process takes place. Your liver uses cholesterol as a basic building block to produce bile acids. And these bile acids are specialized molecules that aid in the digestion and absorption of fat through a process called emulsification. So the molecules are typically stored in fluid form in your gallbladder. And then when you eat a fat-containing meal, they get released into the intestine where they're ready to help the fat for interaction enzymes, eventually absorption up into the body. So when you eat cabbage, the fiber-related nutrients in this cruciferous vegetable bind together with some of the bile acids in the intestine in such a way that they simply stay inside the intestine. So when this happens, your liver needs to replace the lost bile acids. So that's a big, big piece with it that we have to look at. That's a big one. So one of the keys you've got to look at, I think, you've got to look at the bile acids and what they're doing. But bottom line is cabbage makes an impact. And even if you want to just blend it up in your smoothies or make your own separate meal by itself, cabbage is something you can include in your routine with your vegetables every single day and never go wrong. Like, it's got so many benefits. And guys, here's the deal. We got to watch out for excess estrogens that can build up in our system from the food supply. And this is a great way to do that. Cabbage is a great way to avoid that and make sure that it stays out of your system in a great way. 888-283-7272. Give us a call. You're listening to Asa Rx. Right here, go to asarx.com. All right, let's talk to Elsa, who's on the phone.
My challenge right now is that I've just recently quit smoking as of last Monday. I'm on a health regimen that I've provided for myself, which is smoothies and, eating fish and chicken, no fried foods, no extreme carbohydrates. So I'm just trying to see what it is that you all can help me with to do better in the way of eating, and then also help me stay away from the smoking.
Right. So the biggest thing is, first of all, congratulations, you quit smoking. Like, that is a huge deal. Like, woo, like, that's a huge deal. I'm excited for you. That's a big step. It is. So when you can recognize, hey, I've got to make some changes. I know how hard smoking can be for people to quit and to give up. But when you have certainty, right? When you have a certain reason why, when you have a loved one, or you love yourself enough, or you love others, and you say, you know what? I am going to stop this. This is the behavior that's going to take me down the wrong path, down the wrong road, and I'm just going to stop it. So when you get to that point, I think that's a big deal, and I'm really excited for you, because that's amazing. So with that being said, yeah, I think that really your starting point for you is going to be your eating habits. Don't forget that that's your number one. So even if it's things like the nicotine receptors you're going to be fighting against, because that's what creates the addiction, and the dopamine receptors that get affected by that. Yes, all that's important. Yes, all that matters. But the other thing I want to encourage you with is that there's so much more to it, meaning that you can get to a place where you don't have to be stuck. Okay. You can get to a place where you don't have to be in a tough position. And I would just say to you that if you start with things like the anti-inflammatory based diet, if you eat equal amounts of lean protein sources like chicken, fish, beef, or eggs, low glycemic carbohydrates in the form of fruits and vegetables, healthy fats, things like almonds, walnuts, cashews, avocados, if you really start to get that balanced out, get the gut flora balanced out, the right kind of amino acids, the right kind of probiotics, and you get all that lined up, then you're going to be in a good position. And that's where I would start. I would start there. Because once you do that, then with what you're working on from an addictive standpoint, your body's going to be built like a fortress. And then get some lab tests done to figure out what your overall nutritional deficiencies are. Because your gut health is going to be the first and foremost. Once you clear the inflammation out of that, then you can start checking to see what your deficiencies are. Deficiencies are key, as you know. You've got to make sure the deficiencies are down, and that your body is strong, and that it's able, and that it's positioned in a really good way for you to be able to really do well. So I would start there. Eating habits. If you need help, go. You can get a free copy of my book. Just go to myfreehealthbook.com, and we'll send you a book for free. We'll just send it to you for free. You just got to cover the shipping. Take care of the little shipping cost, and we'll send you the hardback copy for free. Go to myfreehealthbook.com. Okay, hon? Get started there. Keep me posted on how things are going, because you're going the right way. Like, you've quit smoking. That's huge. I'm so proud of you. Did you know that you can listen to the Asa Rx audio experience on Spotify and Pandora? For all the ways to watch and listen, check out our show page at asarx.com/experience.
Connect with On Call Radio and watch On Call TV at InShapeNetwork.com.
Welcome back to the show, 888-283-7272. That's 888-283-7272. What are you struggling with? Let's talk about it. Your health, your life. Remember, if the body can get sick, it can also get well. Lifestyle is the medicine. So the choices we make today can and will determine the kind of health you're going to have. Our choices matter. You don't have to be stuck where you are. You really can do well. You really don't have to just stay where you are. And on this show, we want to help you live your potential and become the best version of you. Low blood pressure, I want to talk about for just a minute. It is a hot topic, and a lot of people don't even realize they have it, but yet it's actually linked to a death risk. You always think high blood pressure, well, that's a death risk, right? Because you're dealing with high blood pressure, potentially for heart disease. But what about low blood pressure? We never talk about it much. Lowering blood pressure to a healthy level, it's a goal for a lot of people, but chronic kidney disease patients with very low diastolic blood pressure, okay? Pressure can go too low, and it's linked to a higher risk of death. New limits for a safe level of low blood pressure may be in order, researchers say. So there's about 600,000 kidney disease patients right now in the U.S. Researcher Kasaba Kosevi at the Memphis Veterans Affairs Medical Center in Tennessee looked at about 18 million blood pressure measurements and found that for patients with either very high or very low blood pressure, mortality went up substantially. That's a big one. So researchers found that blood pressures in the range of 130 to 150 over 70 to 89 were associated with the best outcomes in clinic, and even men with kidney disease had better outcomes. So with chronic kidney disease, though, then that's where the concern is. The more than 20 million people have kidney disease based on what the CDC has said. And one of the main messages in this is that the fuzzy boundaries of normal blood pressure tend to be a big piece of this that we're looking at. So 90 over 60 should prompt a checkup. So if it's 90 over 60, that person definitely needs to get everything looked at. That's super, super low. 110 to 115 over 70 to 75 is actually a sweet spot for a lot of people, okay? You start cranking up in the 130s and all that, you need to get it looked at. So what do you do about two symptoms of too low of blood pressure? Well, it's a good idea to get medical attention. If you get dizziness or lightheadedness, that's an issue. Fainting spells, feeling cold and clammy, blurry vision, feeling tired. A sudden change of lowering one blood pressure can be more concerning for an underlying health issue. However, in most cases, as long as the patient's not experiencing any symptoms, there's no cause for alarm. There's really not. So it's one of those things that you realize what it is, you maintain it. And another thing that's not listed here that I got to tell you is sometimes the lack of salt in the diet, because we're so freaked out over salt, but good Celtic Himalayan pink sea salt that has full of minerals, trace minerals, is actually really good for you. And if you've got an adrenal condition, which usually does not get looked at, but if you have an adrenal condition, that can be researched. And many times that can be one of the main reasons that you've got low blood pressure. So I'll get that checked out first. Make sure you get as you get all this other stuff checked out, make sure the adrenals get looked at, because if adrenal output is low, then you're going to have low blood pressure. And then that can be easily remedied by salt and rest. And then that can bring up everything, and it's not even kidney related. So there's a lot of things like that need to be looked at. But I would first and foremost get it checked out and see what your body's doing in that regard. That's a big deal. Okay, let's get on the phones and go with Alexa. Hi, Alexa.
I take methotrexate injections every week for my arthritis. I got rheumatoid arthritis, osteoporosis, and many other chronic diseases.
Well, I'll tell you, so with arthritis, one of the big things you got to step back and do, and this is important, remember it's an itis. So itis means inflammation. And if it's rheumatoid, of course, there's a strong autoimmune component to it. And that's definitely an indicator for this. So you got an autoimmune condition that's probably kicked in. But then if it's osteoarthritis, sometimes people have both. That's just more of a wear and tear. And a lot of times it's more nutritionally deficient or nutrition deficient related. And once you build those areas back up, then you can kind of rebuild your game plan and it can make a difference. So I would focus in more than anything on getting the inflammation down. It's kind of our basics of what we teach here. So if you need a free copy of my book, go to myfreehealthbook.com. You can get a copy of it. And we'll send you, I'll pay for it. I'll send it to you. You just got to cover the shipping, pay for the shipping costs. And we'll send you the book. And then you can get started. It's got a great anti-inflammatory diet in there, basics, gives you really a good place to start, and really lines up everything for you. Because you got to realize that with arthritis, it's an itis, right? So there's pain involved, it's inflammation. But where does inflammation start? Inflammation starts in the gut. And when inflammation starts in the gut, then that's where the challenges happen. If you don't take care of the gut, if you don't keep the gut healthy, then that's where everything begins to kick in. So start there and then figure out exactly what nutritional deficiencies you have. So in some areas of your body, it's going to be high and low. Some areas are going to be much better than others, right? So you got to figure out what those are. But I'll tell you, this is super important too. I'll tell you this, that as you're walking through this process, make sure, and this is a big deal with arthritis, is that you keep moving. See, when everything hurts, everybody stops moving. No exercise, you cut it out, you kind of get couch bound, and you don't want to do anything because it hurts. But if you will start doing some kind of motion, I will tell you this, all the studies are showing that if you'll just get some kind of exercise, get in a pool and walk around. Jump up and down on a little mini trampoline. Walk. Just get on a bike and ride if everything hurts. But do whatever you can to get your body moving, because if you do that, if you maintain that and keep that on a regular basis, that's what it's going to take to be successful. You're going to have to, because arthritis is an itis, and it's just the joints being inflamed. That inflammation comes from the gut. Start clearing out the gut, you'll start clearing out everything. You'll feel better, you'll function better, you'll move better. Everything will be better. That's the way to look at it. Puts another hour in the charts. I want to thank our producers, Mr. Fig, Derek Allen, and our chief engineer, John Garrison, and the rest of the team. Go tell one person something you learned on the show. Together, we can transform the health of our friends, our families, and our communities. This is the show that helps you live your potential. This is Asa.
Did you know you could listen to the Asa Rx audio experience on Spotify and Pandora? For all the ways to watch and listen, check out our show page at asarx.com/experience.
Hi, it's Asa. I'm giving you a copy of my best-selling book for free to help you in your health journey today. I'll pay for the book. All you do is just cover the small shipping and handling costs. Go to asarx.com and get your free book today.
This episode is over, but check episode notes for links to products and services you've heard about on this episode. Thanks for listening and subscribing. Please share the Asa Rx audio experience with others and stay in touch by giving us your comment or review.
Hi, this is Asa, and welcome to my audio experience. This is Asa Rx Experience. If you haven't signed up or subscribed to the podcast, you should. We put a podcast out every single day to be able to encourage you, equip you, give you hope with everything that you have going on in your life. We want to help you every single day. So make sure to join in, get on the podcast, get it coming to you, or go to it at all the outlets, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, it's iHeart, Pandora. It's on all of them, Spotify. You can find it everywhere. But we're here for you. Really, we want to help you and encourage you and equip you. And on that note, we're going to go to the phones and talk to Alice. Hi, Alice.
I've heard a lot of talk about alkaline water, drinking that, and I haven't seen or heard anything contrary to drinking it. I don't know what effect it has on you, but I have friends who claim that it's like a cure-all. I'd just like to know what you think about it.
Well, I'll tell you, there's always going to be the latest remedy and gimmick for whatever it is, okay? And water, the whole idea of water, first of all, water is extremely important, like the most important thing we can put in our body. So the quality of your water needs to be good. I just get excited that people drink water. Now, it is true that some tap water systems are not the best, and the Environmental Protection agencies have listed all the different chemicals that are in waters that can be toxic, different water supplies. And of course, it's not true for every system in every part of the country. However, quality of water is important, and limiting the chemicals that you take in is your best option for whatever you're dealing with, right? So if you're going to have a game plan, it's good to have that kind of game plan. So I always encourage you, when you're looking at water alone, is just make sure, number one, you're drinking it. If it's alkaline or reverse osmosis or whatever, distilled water is always a good choice. It is. It's the easiest way to get purity in water, the processing of that. So I like distilled water quite a bit. And then people say, well, it takes the minerals out of your body. Yeah, but I mean, if you're eating a good, healthy diet, there's no issue with that. So, and a lot of waters they're spring water can put inorganic minerals back in the body that we don't really need. So it's kind of a catch-22. However, I think it's one of the best options that you can do is just get half your body weight in ounces of water. So if it's alkaline, Kangen water, all that, sure, great. Is it going to cure everything? Well, water, we have this thing in our body. Like, let's just get down to the nitty-gritty. Okay, you're listening to Asa Rx, by the way, 888-283-7272. If you want to give us a call, you can join in or send me an email. Go to asarx.com, and you can shoot me an email there or hit me up on any of my social media at Asa Rx TV. So you definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, can get better water in certain instances, but it's just getting it in that is the key. And that's what I really am a big fan of. So half your body weight. If you weigh 200 pounds, drink 100 ounces of water a day. And again, provided there's no major kidney malfunction, that should be an okay number. Otherwise your kidney doc, the big nephrologist, will need to weigh in on that. But for the most part, the average healthy person, that's a good rule of thumb that we all go by. And if you're an athlete, or if you live in warmer climates and you work outside, then you're going to need to increase that probably by another 30 to 40 ounces, they say. Just depends. But that's usually the game plan. Water we have this buffering system in the body. So when you start talking about pH, the median number is 6.8 to 7.2. Okay, that's kind of this roundabout number. And yes, you can have more alkaline water. There are alkaline foods and more acidic foods. But it's like I heard, and I talk about the pH system in my book, and I believe in it. Just know that it's not the end all be all, because your body has this intelligent buffering system already built in. And because it's already built in, then it'll keep even if you had an acidic food and you put it in your body, the body's going to buffer that and make it more neutral. If you take in a real high alkaline food, the body's going to buffer that and make it more neutral. So it's not like you eat a food or drink water and the body just stays alkaline. It can lean toward more of an alkaline state. It can lean more toward an acidic state. But our body has this thing called homeostasis, and it's kind of the overall vibe of the body to want to be in balance. It just does. That's why extremes don't work with the body very long. Like you can work out a certain way, the body will get used to it and stop responding. You can eat a certain way, the body will get used to it and it'll stop responding. The body likes constant change. Change is the only thing that can really disrupt the body enough to make it transition. And so with water, keep it simple. Make sure it's clean, pure water. Don't get hung up on the details. Don't spend a ton of money on some machine. Okay. I'm not naming any names. Even I'll tell you one thing to spend your money on that I think is a wise choice. If you have a home, that is going to be your home. Not like you're getting it for a year, you're renting someplace, but they have whole house water filtration systems. And the entire whole house water filtration system, that's a good purchase, because then you don't have to get individual filters for everything. It's one big filter that filters all the water, and that whether you're cooking, drinking, showering, remember, whatever touches your skin, 75% goes into your bloodstream, right? So whatever you shower in, that water counts as well. So all that matters when it really comes down to it, and it can make a big impact with your overall health and again, for the long term. So the whole house filtration systems, I am a big fan of that. 888-283-7272. That's 888-283-7272. Lines are open with questions about your health. Give us a call or go online, go to asarx.com. If you haven't checked out the Asa Rx Experience podcast, it's on every single day. And it's, of course, some great content we can give you, encourage you, equip you to be better. We want to help you live your potential and become the best version of you. Jacob in New Orleans said, I had a biopsy on my prostate a year ago, and the recent test shows everything's great. Awesome. That's great news. But I have discomfort in the groin and bladder. I'd get that looked at. I mean, if the prostate's doing okay, depending on and again, I don't have all the details, but it depends on a couple things. You could have a hernia. You could have, you could have pulled a muscle, strained a muscle. You could have a nerve issue in your lower back, which is referring itself to the groin. I mean, there's a lot of could-bes. Somebody needs to actually get their hands in and check and do tests. And there's tests in the office, examination that can be done to kind of narrow down what's probably going on. So even some films if you need them. But I would have somebody look at it, then reach out to me. But that's great news about the prostate for sure. 888-283-7272. Now, send me an email. Go to asarx.com, and we'll be glad to make it part of the show. Coming up, I got more questions about your health. Plus, I got some tips you don't want to miss when we come back. Hi, it's Asa. I'm giving you a copy of my best-selling book for free to help you in your health journey today. I'll pay for the book. All you do is just cover the small shipping and handling costs. Go to asarx.com and get want to help you. If you haven't found a lifestyle provider that's someone in your area that believes just like we do, then check out our providers there at the website. Go to asarx.com. Our providers can really dig in. And what you really want, just so you know, you've probably never heard the term, but I'm going to give it to you just so you understand it. But it's provider-guided, personalized nutrition. It all needs to be customized, okay? It's not one size fits all. It's not something cool you hear on my show. You go to the vitamin store and get it because this new herb is supposed to be amazing. Yeah, if I read some research and it is, that's great. But what does your body need? See, the thing is, we all have nutritional deficiencies that we develop over time. And you don't need to do blind nutrition. Blind nutrition is definitely not the way to go. You need provider-guided or doctor-guided nutrition, somebody that can look at lab tests, that can look at your own body chemistry, know exactly what's going on, and put the right kind of plan together that's customized for you. That's where you're going to get the results, and that's where the biggest difference will come in how you're operating and how your body works. So that's the ultimate key that you have to look for, okay, is going in that direction. And on the show, we'll help you get there. If you need a provider, let us know. Go to asarx.com and let my team know. They'll find you somebody in your area, all right? So heart is a big issue. The American Heart Association made a statement in a zero-tolerance approach for children's exposure to secondhand smoke, so cigarette smoke. You know, I talk about smoking. It's interesting because I read articles, of course, that we bring here to the show and studies that they're doing and whatnot. You'll hear me talk a lot about that. But what's interesting is I just can't believe people are still smoking. And they say that cell phone radiation and the effects, we're just now getting to see what some long-term studies are showing us. But they say that like keeping a cell phone on your body is going to be the same thing as cigarette smoke was 50 years ago, right? Just the not really knowing, kind of knowing, but not really having the long-term studies, and now we have them. So I can't believe people still smoke. You ever go to the airport and you see the big smoking room? People are in that room, they're just hammering away at the cigarettes. Like it blows me away. So it still blows me away when I go into a restaurant and they're smoking there. Like I can't even, especially with kids. So I'll get off my smoking rant. I know it's addictive. I get it. If you're addicted to it, I'm sorry. If you need help, seriously, let us know. And we'll see if we can get a provider to help you in some way. But parents should consider making their children's environment smoke-free. I totally agree. I mean, I grew up in a home where both parents smoked. They quit, thank the Lord, at a certain age. I think I was probably around, maybe teenager, 12 or 13, when they quit. But, and there was a marked difference. I grew up with bronchitis every year, walking pneumonia, all these lung conditions. And it was like, literally, I would stay in the house for a month. The doctor wouldn't let me go out. And what's interesting about that, pediatrician, old school, he wouldn't let me go out and get fresh air because of the bronchitis. I'm inside the house where all the smoke was happening. And they wondered why it lasted a month. Like, that didn't even make sense. So I look back at some of those things and I think, how crazy is that? But the children that are exposed to cigarette smoke may develop early heart disease as adults due to poorly functioning, stiffer blood vessels that the smoke causes. And some babies who are exposed to cigarette smoke while in the womb may be at risk for sudden death during infancy. So along with damaging arteries, secondhand smoke has been linked to other heart disease risk factors such as obesity, high cholesterol, and insulin resistance, which is associated with type 2 diabetes, they said. Also, the children of smokers are more likely to become smokers themselves, and estimated 24 million non-smoking children and teens are exposed to secondhand smoke in the U.S., but that exposure is largely from parents who smoke, they said. So it's encouraging adults, of course, to quit because your kids don't do what we say. They do what we do. You don't think they're watching? Let me tell you something. They're watching. They're watching everything that you do, how you do everything you do, why you do everything you do. They're watching everything. So it's a big deal. So parents, make an example, be an example, live an example in front of your kids so they have someone to look to know which way to go. 888-283-7272. Lines are open. You can give us a call or go to the website, go to asarx.com. That's asarx.com. Get on the phones and go with Sophia. Hi, Sophia.
Yes, I'm calling about joint pains, inflammation in the lower part of my back, down my hip and down my leg. I'm wondering the best thing to take for this. I have had back surgery, but I'm wondering the best thing to take for these aches in my joints, ankle, knee, lower back, neck, down my hips, down my legs. Sometimes it's like a toothache pain. It's worse than a toothache pain. It's an achy pain. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering what's the best thing to take.
Well, there's a couple things. When you have that type of pain, okay, it's not about what to take. I think we're all conditioned about what to take. So everybody at a certain age is going to have a certain level of arthritis in their backs, okay? And depending on how much you weigh and your activity level and all that, that is going to play a role too. So what I'm about to tell you is really important because with the joint pain that's going down like that, it's all nerve related. It's coming from the low back. But most of that could be due to the disc in between the bones getting thinner and thinner. It could be to the way your back is positioned. A chiropractic physician would be one of your best options to get started with down that path, in my opinion, because it's going to be non-surgical and it's going to be a full evaluation in that area to make sure, because it sounds like it's neurological, but then your primary care needs to look at it too, just to make sure they get some labs and whatever. But I would get somebody to take a good overall look at that, because fish oil and omega-3 fatty acids can play a role in the inflammation cycle. So that's one thing. There's things you can do, but it's the root cause. What's the root cause of it? And it could be muscle instability. If you're sedentary and not exercising, exercise needs to be a part of your life 5-6 days a week, no matter what. So I think that's a good starting point as well.
Are you ready to chow? It's time for Keto Chow. When it comes to eating healthy, the keto diet has become one of the nutrition leaders in optimizing health, losing unwanted weight, and reaching your health and wellness goals. No extravagant cooking, no long kitchen cleanup, and most importantly, especially for me, it's convenient. Just put quality Keto Chow powder in a bottle, add some heavy whipping cream or your favorite fat, a little water, and boom, shake it up and you're ready to chow. Keto Chow tastes amazing. So make Keto Chow easy for you and your family today with Keto Chow. Let's go chow. Visit Keto Chow online at ketochow.xyz. That's ketochow.xyz.
To find out more, visit the show online, InShapeNetwork.com.
Triple 828-37272. Welcome back to the show. This is Asa Rx, here with you every single day. It's the Asa Rx Experience podcast as well, so if you haven't checked out the podcast, please do. Go on and subscribe. It's a brand new show we put out every single day to be able to help you, encourage you, equip you, and give you the tools that you need to really thrive. That's what this whole thing is all about. That's the key. So taking a decline is a big deal when it comes to mental decline and having too little exercise when you're young. Now, that wasn't an issue for me. I think over-exercise. Of course, I'm still an exercise fanatic now, but I was a kid. It's like pulling me to get in the house to eat dinner was like a chore. My mother, bless her heart, as we say, in the South, right? Trying to wrangle me to get me in to eat dinner, and then I didn't want to eat my vegetables, but that's a whole nother story. So, and that's what I'm preaching today. So, yes, I did struggle with it, didn't like vegetables, fought everybody on it. Yep, I was that kid. For sure. Now I love them, though. All right, so too much TV and too little exercise. We're talking about it. So even early, they say, mid-adulthood may be critical periods for promotion of physical activity to keep memory and thinking strong in old age. Lead researcher Tina Hong said in a news release from the Alzheimer's Association, she said that in Northern California Institute of Research and Education in San Francisco is slated to present her team's findings at the annual meeting of the Alzheimer's Association in D.C. Prior studies have suggested that physical activity later in life may help protect against mental decline. In their study, the researchers tracked more than 3,200 white and black Americans aged 18 to 30, and they looked really at their physical activity levels and television viewing to make their decisions in the study. Well, what's interesting about it is they found that 17% of the participants had a long-term pattern of low physical activity, 11% a long-term pattern of high levels of television viewing. So thinking and memory tests were conducted after 25 years, according to the researchers. And those with both long-term low physical activity and high television viewing were nearly 2 times more likely to have poor mental function in midlife. So while the study couldn't prove cause and effect, they added that because research indicates Alzheimer's and other dementias develop over several decades, increasing physical activity and reducing sedentary behavior beginning in early adulthood may have a significant public health impact. So the experts agreed without a doubt, it's consistent, that when it comes down to mental decline, which is a big deal, we're seeing it now. I got to tell you, we're seeing mental decline now more in dementia and Alzheimer's more than ever. I mean, we've seen it now in a massive, massive way. And the good news is we've got better ways of treating it and managing it. But still, nonetheless, to see someone go through that, family member, loved one, whatever is really hard. It's very challenging and difficult to watch. So want to encourage you to really dig in. If you know somebody that struggles with any symptoms that you're seeing with any form of mental decline, then you want to jump in and really make an impact and get them to somebody that can truly, truly help them. Because that is a big deal. One of the greatest things you can do is help in that way and get somebody the help that they need. 888-283-7272. You can give us a call. That's 888-283-7272. We want you to be a part of the show, so always give us a call. And also, if you send us an email, we can make you part of the show that way as well. If you want me to answer something in private, just tell them when you call, and we can set something up to answer in private as well. If you just kind of don't want to be on the air, a lot of people do that, and they just have a question. So let us know. Email us to asarx.com. We're always here for you. That's what we're all about. And if you're looking for a provider in your area, a lifestyle provider, someone that does exactly what we do and helps you really get to the next level with your health and life, just give us a call. Same number, 888-283-7272, and we've got a whole team that can help you get everything that you need that way. So what about blueberries? Are you a blueberries fan? Man, I love blueberries. They're so good for you, right? I'm going to talk about some of the health benefits that we see with blueberries, and I'm going to do that in just a moment. First, I want to jump on the phone, though, and talk to someone who's been waiting for us, Miss Maddie. Hi, Maddie.
I'm calling and asking about a good vitamin for thyroid disease.
Right. And, that's such a good question. The reason I say that is we always jump when we get a thyroid issue in medications and whatnot, and people are like, okay, what do I need to take? What do I need to do? And all that jazz, right? So if you're taking any of the medications like Synthroid, let's say you got low thyroid function, and they put you on Synthroid or levothyroxine, as we call it, which is the most common. But there's also Armour, which I'm a huge fan of as well. They've kind of remodeled and redone Armour, but people are still getting really good results with it. The key is with thyroid, before you jump into, hey, take this, do this supplement, whatever, is iodine. Iodine is one of the big deficiencies that we have that can cause issues with the thyroid itself. So I always have people look and see what their iodine levels are first before they jump in. Because if you start looking at your iodine levels and they're super low, but you still take Synthroid and all that, you may not really need it. You may have just remember, the body typically gets deficiencies for the reasons of why it breaks down. I mean, that's usually the number one reason that it breaks down. The body's not getting something that it needs, and it needs it. So first and foremost, you got to figure that out. But don't forget too that even if you're taking the medication, you got to step back and say, what's really causing it? Like, what's the root cause of this whole deal, right? What's the root cause of it? And that's what you got to figure out, because it could be the pituitary gland, it could be the adrenals, it could be other issues. Usually the thyroid is never primary. It's never the primary condition. It typically is always secondary to another condition that's going on. So remember, here we're all about the root cause. We're all about the root reason of why things break down and why things don't work and what's causing it and all of that jazz. So we need to figure that out. That's why I like to look at it from that perspective, is when you're looking at thyroid, I think iodine, if you're just asking for straight up what can help it, there's glandulars and things you can use. Tyrosine's a really good amino acid that's helpful for the thyroid. But you don't just start taking stuff. Remember, I do not advocate blind nutrition. The only blind nutrition that I'm a big fan of is not even vitamin D. Like, I don't think you need to be taking vitamin D unless you got a provider guiding you, because it's fat soluble. If you take too much, it becomes toxic. If you take too little, it's going to literally mess up almost every system in your body. Is not going to work at its peak level, okay? From inflammation to your hormones, because it is a hormone, by the way, it's not even a vitamin, to your immune system, to your ability to build lean muscle tissue, to brain function. I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, it's a rock star, but you need to know what your numbers are. The only 4 things that are cool are what we call the foundational 4. It's the only blind nutrition that I really support. And the foundational 4 is a good multi-nutrient formula, so you get a little bit of everything that you need that's organic. You need something to cover your gut health. You need something to cover your ability to break down your foods. And you also need something to cover any of the fatty acids that your body needs, because you don't get all those from food. So those in a whole food form, all 4 of those nutrients are very important. Drinking out of our new shaker bottle, really, really cool. And you better be drinking your water every single day. You better remember half your body weight. But our new shaker bottles are awesome. They say unstoppable on them, because you are. It also talks about living your potential. So if you haven't got one yet, go to asarx.com. I think they're like $9. It's not much at all, but go and check it out and grab one of those. They're pretty awesome. And don't forget our free book, my best-selling book, hardback cover. I'm giving it to you for free. Why am I doing that? Because I want to help you. So if you just cover a little bit of the shipping cost, just cover the shipping, I'll pay for the book and I'll send it to you. Go to the website, go to asarx.com and click on the free book offer deal, and they'll get you a copy. It's pretty amazing. So grab a copy of the book, I'll send it to you, and you can get started really going down your path of what you need to live a healthy lifestyle. And the book is amazing. It's a bestseller everywhere, and it's just been amazing. So it takes you from where you are to where you need to be with your health, and literally it could not cover more. I mean, every review we get is like, this book has everything in it. Like, I knew nothing about health, or the people that were like high-end gurus with health read it and they're just blown away by the material. And it's good. It's helpful. It's inspiring. And it will really get you to the next level with your health and with your life. So I want to jump in real quick on blueberries. Blueberries are amazing. They really are a superstar health food, and tons of antioxidants. They have these powerful different anthocyanins in it and flavonols that are just amazing for your overall body. They've got cardiovascular benefits. They've done studies on this, and they can actually lower the LDL, that's the bad cholesterol, and raise the good cholesterol, the HDL. Pretty amazing. Recent studies have also shown that there's a thing called nitric oxide synthase, okay? And the formation of that cuts down inflammation in the heart, and blueberries naturally do that. They have cognitive benefits too, which I think is really interesting and very, very important, because one of the exciting new areas of research on blueberries is with cognitive function, memory increase, and an overall reduction of aging in the cellular process. All that plays a big role. Great blood sugar benefits too, really good for the eyes, and anti-cancer. A lot of good anti-cancer studies right now on blueberries. So the types of cancers they've studied with it, breast cancer, colon, esophageal, and ones of the small intestines, they have definitely shown an increasing percentage of help from just using blueberries. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Asa Rx.
Did you know that you can listen to the Asa Rx audio experience on Spotify and Pandora? For all the ways to watch and listen, check out our show page at asarx.com/experience.
Connect with On Call Radio and watch On Call TV at InShapeNetwork.com.
Triple 828-37272. That's 888-283-7272. Lines are open with questions about your health. Give us a call or go to the website. Go to asarx.com. And remember, we're giving you a free book. So go to the website. We're giving you a free book. Or go to myfreehealthbook.com. That's myfreehealthbook.com. And we'll be glad to send you a copy of my best-selling book, hardback. All you got to do is just cover the shipping. It's a little bit of shipping cost. And just cover that, and I'll send you my hardback cover copy of my book. It's worth like $30. We'll send it to you for free. Okay? Absolutely free. I want you to have it, to be a tool and to give you the ability to really do well and to crush it. And we want to help you along the way, no matter what, so you can do really, really well. That's what this whole thing is about. It's about helping you live your potential and become the best version of you. Donnie in Atlanta, Georgia, the ATL. He says, I have atrial fib, and I'd love to take care of my heart. I've been dealing with taking medication, but the doctor wants me to increase medication. What do you think? Well, AFib, you got to first look at it. Like, what is AFib? And then what are some natural ways to support it? Well, atrial fibrillation is irregular heartbeat, basically. And it creates a fluttering. There can be different patterns of it. There's different theories of why this happens. I think it's a strong genetic component. I've seen some studies on that. I'm okay with that. But the bigger issue is, from a long-term piece, what's going to give you the most results and what's going to cause your body to work in the best way possible for the long term. And that's the bigger piece that you really want to look at. So I would start there and focus in on that, because if you're looking at it from atrial fib, it's usually a B vitamin deficiency. If you really want to step into it, it's usually B vitamins, because here's the deal. All right. Most of our B vitamins are found in vegetables. Okay. Now, I think we're heavily B vitamin deficient personally. I just do. And I've seen it in clinical practice for years and years and years. It's usually one of the top ones that we see and we deal with, okay? So that's first and foremost. However, What's interesting about that is that 1.5% of Americans actually eat vegetables. So think about the vitamin deficiency when people are just eating things like meat, breads, potatoes, carbs, sugars. They're not getting the nutrients that they need. Now, this is why people start breaking down. Like I love my mother for making us all eat vegetables and making me do it when I was a kid. Like I didn't like it, but she was old school, right? And made me eat them. Broccoli. I mean, I had something green every night, like asparagus, Brussels sprouts. You know, I was ready to lay hands on some Brussels sprouts. They were so bad. I can just remember them as a kid, right? As just a kid having to eat those things was like literally, you think about life and all we go through. As a kid, I was like Brussels sprouts. I remember one time taking the Brussels sprouts and actually putting them in a napkin and hiding them. So it's like, telling my parents I ate them and I didn't. It was that bad, right? So what's funny about that is their vegetables are the only thing that give you the B vitamins for the most part. So if you're not getting them, then you're pretty deficient in them. And that creates a whole different issue to deal with. So I would encourage you to look at B vitamins, vitamin C, and then check into iodine. Because if you have an iodine deficiency, sometimes that can trigger AFib as well. Because the thyroid, don't forget the thyroid is kind of like the switch and the regulator for the heart rate and rhythm. And if that's not working right, then, I mean, it's just not going to work right. So you got to make sure everything's clicking and ticking the way that it needs to. Okay, 888-283-7272. That's 888-283-7272. Give us a call. You're listening to Asa Rx. Go to asarx.com. Don't forget your free book. Go to asarx.com. The free book offer is right there. You can pick it up, check it out. We'll send you a copy for free, hardback copy. You just cover a little bit of the shipping, and we will take care of the rest. All right, let's get on the phone and go to Marianne. Hi, Marianne.
I just wondered if you can, the milk thistle, you mentioned the milk thistle for liver problems. I just wondered if you get that at a health food store, or do you have to have a prescription for it? And what else did you say was good for the liver? And how much water should someone that's diagnosed with congestive heart failure drink a day? I know you said a regular person or a normal person should drink half their body weight.
Right.
But I realize with congestional heart failure it might be different.
It is. It is. And one of the things, it's a great question, Marianne. With milk thistle in the liver, it's good, okay? It's not the end-all, be-all. Things like choline are really good. L-theanine are really good, and that's an amino acid. So there's a lot you can do to support the liver. Dandelion is just fantastic. You can get dandelion tea, and it's real regenerative for the liver. So all of that is beneficial. But the liver is so regenerative. Like the liver is so powerful just on its own, and it does really, really well to recover and regenerate when it's taking a beating. It's really cool how well that works. So that's one thing you got to realize on that note, that the liver is resilient, and it's gonna work and do great no matter what. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Now, so milk thistle's good, I guess, a roundabout way, but it's more about your daily routine, your eating habits consistently, staying away from alcohol, staying away from a lot of the sugars, making sure there's no fat around the liver, no fatty liver, and exercising. I mean, exercise is key. If you're not exercising 5 to 6 days a week, you're not going to hit your potential. It's just not possible. It's not. Your body was designed to move, not sit. And I think we've got too much. It's like the biggest disease we deal with. I think our thoughts become our biggest disease, but I think inactivity is definitely number 2, without a doubt. So I would encourage you to look at that. And, as far as water goes for congestive heart failure, you really want to talk to your doctor, because at different stages, you can do different things. And the water intake, depending on where things are, is really going to be the determining factor. So it is. But the good news is that if you get that calculated and get the right numbers in, the body will respond really well. Getting enough water is a key, and we just don't. And it's a major, major player in feeling better. Puts another hour in the charts, wrapping this up. I want to thank our producer, Mr. Fig, Derek Allen, also our chief engineer, John Garrison. Go tell one person something you learned on the show. Together, we can transform the health of our friends, our families, and our communities. You're listening to the show that helps you become the best version of you. This is Asa Rx.
Did you know you could listen to the Asa Rx audio experience on Spotify and Pandora? For all the ways to watch and listen, check out our show page at asarx.com/audio. asa.rx/experience.
Hi, it's Asa. I'm giving you a copy of my best-selling book for free to help you in your health journey today. I'll pay for the book. All you do is just cover the small shipping and handling costs. Go to asarx.com and get your free book today.
This episode is over, but check episode notes for links to products and services you've heard about on this episode. Thanks for listening and subscribing. Please share the Asa Rx audio experience with others and stay in touch by giving us your comment or review.
Hi, this is Asa, and welcome to my audio experience.
We're talking about thyroid issues, and they're saying now the thyroid may harm women's fertility. Now, the thyroid gland is a pretty important gland. It's a little gland that sits right around the Adam's apple, just behind your throat, around that area. And although it's not really a big life or death gland, it is a quality of life gland. And that is really important to understand, because your mental clarity has to do with the thyroid and the way your body functions, your metabolism, your ability to gain weight, lose weight, that has to do with the thyroid. And then the other area that's super important that we all need is that it helps to regulate with the heart rate and rhythm. So that's another big one. So you want the thyroid to be as healthy as possible. But now they're saying that thyroid issues can harm women's fertility, possibly. So a new study supports this notion, and the research was published in the Obstetrician and Gynecologist. They found that 2.3% of women with fertility issues have an overactive thyroid, hyperthyroidism, compared with 1.5% of those in the general population. The condition's also linked with menstrual irregularity, the researcher said. Now, abnormalities in thyroid function can have the adverse effect on reproductive health and result in reduced rates of conception, increased miscarriage risk, and adverse pregnancy and neonatal outcomes. They did a lot of this at the Bristol Center for Reproductive Medicine in Bristol, England. So for over 2 decades now, they said there's a strong link between hypo and hyperthyroidism. Okay, so hypo means low or a slow thyroid, and hyper is fast. So just remember that. So they found that they both can actually impact this. But now they're finding that routine screening of the thyroid is extremely important when a woman's pregnant or even attempting to get pregnant, because it's a major piece of the puzzle, and can, if you're struggling to get pregnant, it could be a game changer. So in adult women, remember hypo is slow, slow thyroid is linked with menstrual issues and lack of ovulation in some cases. Researchers also noted that thyroid disease is associated with an increased risk of issues during pregnancy, including miscarriage, preeclampsia, poor fetal growth, premature birth, and stillbirth. So all of that can play a role from the thyroid. Now, they agreed that over and underactive thyroid conditions are very common in young and otherwise healthy women. And the current recommendation by the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology is to start screening at the age of 35. He said that at his clinic, he performs routine blood tests looking for thyroid issues on every patient in this study. Thyroid disorders, they said, can prevent patients from ovulating and is one of the leading causes of irregular menstrual issues, Dr. Singer explained. So the treatment is simple and safe to get everything back on track, and has to do with some medication that they can put you on, depending on what you need and the amount and dosage and that sort of thing. But thyroid issues, of course, play a big role, but the fact that it can be a player in fertility is really good research. Because when you start talking fertility with women, and there just is a host of issues now that we're finding. Many people are struggling with fertility, and there's different theories on that of why. I think the research is getting better. It's getting stronger. We've got environmental issues now. I think they're playing a major role more than ever in this whole deal. And so that's got to be a piece that's looked at too. So toxins in the environment can be a major player. 888-283-7272. That's 888-283-7272. Open phone lines. We'd love you to be part of the show. You can give us a call. And listen, if you want to answer in private, give me a call as well, and I can answer that in private for you. Send me an email. Go to asarx.com, and I'll be glad to answer any question for you. If you don't make it to the show, we will help any way that we can. We do get full, but just call in, and we'll make you part of the show. Let's go to Anna. Hi, Anna. Welcome.
spots on my fingernails. And also my granddaughter, who's 14 years old, has white spots on her. What is causing this, and how can we prevent it?
So that's a great question. So the white spots on the fingernails can be caused by several different issues. The theory is that it typically can be a zinc deficiency. Not enough zinc, which is pretty common, believe it or not. And the more stress we have, not that anybody has it, the more stress we have, the greater chance we have for a zinc deficiency, especially if you're not getting the level of nuts and seeds and greens that you need on a daily basis. So if you're not getting the right nutrition, then it's easy to develop deficiencies in a lot of different categories. But zinc's a big one. It kind of creeps up and people don't even realize it. So the white spots in the fingernails can cause that. It can be caused by other things too, but that typically is one of the main reasons. So depending on the level of it, there's a certain amount of zinc that you can take, and safe amounts, and everybody's different. It's based on your body weight. Our providers always help with that. If you need help, just you can call and talk to one of them, and they can get more of the specifics with you. But remember, blind nutrition is just no good. You don't want to do blind nutrition. You want to do personalized nutrition that's targeted for you, because everybody's different. I mean, you're different than me. I'm different than you. You're different than your neighbor. We all have different body chemistry, and you have to, even if it's a deficiency, somebody may need 15 milligrams, another person might need 50. So it just depends on your body weight, depends on the levels, and that's why blood testing and nutritional blood testing are so important, to get those levels figured out and know exactly what's going on. Thanks so much for that call. 888-283-7272. That's 888-283-7272. Heavier kids, they're saying, may suffer more elbow fracture type issues. So obese children, and by the way, we're seeing more obesity now than ever. Like I just got to say this, and that's why I'm even talking about this, because it's just you're thinking, why are you talking about elbow fractures? Like, who cares? Well, I'm talking about kids more than anything. And I think this is interesting because the obesity of the kids are causing not just elbow fractures. Think about it. They're causing all kinds of issues. So when you start thinking about our kids today, I've been doing this show for quite some time. And when the statistic used to be, and this year it's going to be 1 out of 3, or by this year, 1 out of 3 of our young people are going to have diabetes before the age of 11. Type 2 diabetes, which is like the kind we used to call it adult onset. We can't call it that anymore because it's not, too many kids are getting it. So they got rid of the whole adult onset diabetes. That went away a long time ago. So we've got so many kids that are having that. We're finding out now that researchers have looked at like 350 children, and they did a study, and they found out that fractures increased because of the obesity of our kids. We have to do something as parents, as doctors, and really as in our school systems. Like, we have to do something about the obesity. It's becoming an epidemic.
I'm giving you a copy of my best-selling book for free to help you in your health journey today. I'll pay for the book. All you do is just cover the small shipping and handling costs. Go to asarx.com and get your free book today.
To find out more, connect with On Call Radio online at InShapeNetwork.com.
Your lifestyle is the medicine, and the choices you make today can and will determine the kind of health you're going to have tomorrow. And it really does. Our health is our greatest wealth, and the choices we make every single day, they matter more than anything. They really do. And that's the key. So the key is to focus in on your choices. If you haven't checked out the podcast, you can check that out. Go to the website, go to asarx.com, and you can easily find the keys to be able to go and figure out everything you need for the podcast. Podcast called the Asa Rx Experience. And of course, it's daily information. We've got new shows every single day that we put up, new content we put up every single day, and things that we don't do here on the show as well. So you can catch exclusive interviews and me answering questions in detail. We call it Ask Asa Rx. We do that as well. So all that is there at the podcast. Let's get on the phones and go with Jonas now. Hi, Jonas.
Just recently been diagnosed with asthma. Thanks much.
Okay. Yeah, asthma. It's a challenge. Here's the deal with asthma. There's a lot of different reasons. Like if you get diagnosed with it, there's a lot of reasons that someone could have asthma. And I don't think you need to stop there. Like, hey, I've been diagnosed with asthma. Okay, what do I do? What you do is you go get a couple of different opinions, because asthma could be a result of allergies, and it could just be a response to the allergies. All it is typically it's, of course, the closing down in the bronchioles, but you've got to realize that if it's an allergic response, what's triggering it? Asthma to me has always been not that big of a deal, meaning when you're looking at it from a clinical perspective, everything's about the root cause. Like you can take an inhaler and get relief, right? But if your body's stimulating, if you're eating the kind of foods that you have food allergies to and don't even know it because you haven't been tested for it and don't even realize it, but you're eating those foods every single day and you develop sensitivity even greater than the allergy to those foods, and then your body's reacting by giving you wheezing, which would be asthma, and you get this wheezing in your breathing, then it's not really, it may not even be, it's not like it's genetic or something. I mean, you're doing something every day that's triggering asthma. Like somebody could have a pet cat, not even know they're allergic to cats, and the cat, they love their cat, but the cat dander is causing them massive histamine response in the body, and they're wheezing and all kinds of allergic response. And again, that's something that getting to the root cause of that is not that difficult. You can jump in and do that. It's not that hard. But I would encourage you to get another opinion, maybe two more, and then get someone to do personalized nutrition with you. So our providers can help you with that if you need it, but you don't want to do blind nutrition, like just go and eat whatever and hope for the best, cross your fingers. Like that day's over. You want to have someone that can personalize something based on your body chemistry, cut out the inflammation, get the nutrients that your body needs specifically so that you can build the body up the way it needs to be. I mean, otherwise you're just shooting in the dark. And that's the way nutrition's been done for a long time. Just, eat 5 servings of green vegetables and eat protein and all that, and you'll be okay. Like, I mean, that day's over. So you want to do everything as really as solid as you can with the greatest amount of information that you can get. 888-283-7272. Give us a call. Open phone lines. We're here for you. You can give us a call and be part of the show. So there's some risky behaviors I want to jump on for just a minute that can set back if you're getting treated for depression. Depression is something that more Americans now, and really people around the globe, are being treated for. And I'm seeing it, and it's pretty challenging, to say the least. But feelings of sadness and hopelessness, and even guilt, lack of energy, and irritability, they're some of the most common symptoms of depression. They affect about 7% of adults and about 12% of the adolescents in the United States. The symptoms of depression can make it really hard to get through the day. And though treatment is available, it may take weeks or months to actually feel better. That increases the temptation to engage in risky behaviors that offer the allure of just feeling better right now. So they say, although it may seem like these behaviors alleviate depression temporarily, they are really just an illusionary fix for ultimately make your depression worse. So this is a study that was done at the University of California, Los Angeles, at the Neuroscience and Human Behavior Department. So they're saying that there's certain behaviors to avoid for depression management. The study was done in the American Journal of Preventive Medicine on this. About 844 people were seeking help quitting smoking, and they found that 24% met the criteria for major depression. So the study also found that cigarette smokers with depression were less likely to successfully quit if you're prone to depression. Think about that. So depression management, obviously you want to do everything you can. Here's the deal. Get tested for your neurotransmitters. This is something we just don't do right now in healthcare a whole lot. There is a debate on doing it versus not. This is where you have certain symptoms and they'll say, okay, let's try this drug. Okay, and you don't feel great, so let's try this drug. Okay, well, that's not working. Well, let's try this drug. So because of that, and because it's like, let's try this, let's try that, then you get into this situation where it becomes quite the challenge. So you want to get to a place with depression that you avoid the behaviors that are going to flare it up and make it worse, but you need to get neurotransmitter testing done. I think it's a wise move for anyone to kind of see what your levels are. Because once you know the levels of the neurotransmitters, that sets the stage for treatment. It sets the stage for you getting where you need to go. So a couple of behaviors you want to avoid when we're dealing with depression. Number one, substance abuse. That is something that a lot of people lean toward, right, to bury the pain, and definitely not a way to go. Remember, most substances are depressants by nature, like alcohol, and it's only going to make everything worse. Addictions, those are another one. So addiction can be anything, but drugs, alcohol, can be behavior, gambling, sex, shopping. All of it can be certain behaviors for that. Eating disorders can arise from this. Anger and withdrawal is a big one. And, of course, thoughts of suicide. If you do have any of those, please, please, please talk with someone about it and get some better behaviors going. If you need help, you can always touch base with us.
Are you ready to chow? It's time for Keto Chow. When it comes to eating healthy, the keto diet has become one of the nutrition leaders in optimizing health, losing unwanted weight, and reaching your health and wellness goals. No extravagant cooking, no long kitchen cleanup, and most importantly, especially for me, it's convenient. Just put quality Keto Chow powder in a bottle, add some heavy whipping cream or your favorite fat, a little water, and boom, shake it up and you're ready to chow. Keto Chow tastes amazing. So make Keto Chow easy for you and your family today with Keto Chow. Let's go chow. Visit Keto Chow online at ketochow.xyz. That's ketochow.xyz.
To find out more, visit the show online, InShapeNetwork.com.
Welcome back to the show, 888-283-7272. That's 888-283-7272. So glad you're with us. I'm Asa, your host. You're listening to the Asa Rx Experience. We're here for you each and every day. What about strokes? What about them? So they're saying stroke risk can persist longer than we thought after childbirth. So increased risk of having strokes and other blood clotting issues can continue the longer after a woman gives birth than previously believed. According to a new study, historically it's about 6 weeks was the accepted period that we thought, okay, keep an eye on everything. Dr. Human Camel said that we found the risk of blood clots remained higher than normal for twice as long as previously thought. After 12 weeks, it was no longer significant. At the Weill Cornell Medical College Department of Neurology and the Brain and Mind Research Institute, they found this. They said the study was published online in the New England Journal of Medicine. Camel, who's a neurologist at the New York Presbyterian Hospital, is presenting in the study and said that the team looked at medical information from nearly 1.7 million women in California giving birth, and they found this. So what's interesting is stroke risk and the blood clotting were 10 times higher than normal. And they were monitoring them for it. They said the smokers were the ones that had the biggest issue. And then women with chronic high blood pressure also increased their risk. Doctors give high-risk women low-dose blood thinners now for 6 weeks after delivery to reduce their risk. And future research could also focus whether 12 weeks would be a better time frame for the drugs. Now, if you want to do things naturally on that, and this is not standard of care, so you'd have to talk to your OB about it, but the blood thinning drugs that they use mimic the same patterns as a natural source of vitamin E, which can yield similar results of those blood thinning properties. So that's something you could look into potentially that could be very helpful in this. And it could be an option because, if you want to do things naturally, I get it. Don't want that stuff in especially if you're breastfeeding and all that and you're taking those meds. Of course, they're going to tell you it's no big deal. And they've done studies probably to show that it's no big deal. I just wouldn't want the drugs in my system if I didn't absolutely have to, right? So just to have a point of discussion, you might want to talk about the whole vitamin E thing. They may poo-poo on it. That's okay. But at least you had the conversation. You'll feel better about it, I can assure you. This was all funded by the U.S. National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke. And the findings suggest that both doctors and pregnant women should have a heightened awareness for the potential blood clot risk longer than the traditional 6-week period. So interesting, to say the least, that's for sure. And really good info. Because strokes it's like that silent killer, right? It's the thing that sneaks up on everybody and they didn't even know they were predisposed to it or that it could even happen. And that's one thing definitely that needs to be looked at and really, really taken advantage of so that it's a priority and front of mind. Big deal. 888-283-7272. That's 888-283-7272. If you're looking for a lifestyle provider in your area, just give us a call. Our providers are phenomenal at doing doctor-guided, personalized nutrition and really getting to the root cause of what is the main issue going on in your body, looking at nutritional values and lab testing to get specific on what your body needs. You know, blind nutrition is it's like so old school. Like, who does that? I mean, you need to have someone look at your body, which is different than my body and different than your neighbor's body, that can really dial it in and figure that out, because you don't want to just guess. Guessing? Who guesses? I mean, there's only a few things that we know works for everybody. But, you know, the majority of people get massive deficiencies and don't even know it. And the body's not getting everything it needs. And that really plays a role in overall health. Let's get over to the phones and talk to Stormy. Hi, Stormy.
My B12, the doctor said it went down, and I was having problems with my legs, and they started giving me shots. And then another thing, they found a mass on my kidney, my left kidney, and they think it's cancer, and that's why I was calling to see what information that I can get from y'all. Well,
tackle the first things first. You really want to look at, so the kidney and the mass, they think it's cancer. I could tell you that a lot of times, if there is, depending on what type of cancer, right, and if it even is, but a lot of times the little tumors that can be on kidneys, for the most part, are something that won't really harm you, and it's something that'll be looked at as something that, or a condition that will end up being okay. Okay, that is a strong possibility with that. So they'll go through that process with you. I think the bigger key here is creating some stability, and that's stability in your health and your lifestyle plan. It's like, you know, we don't want to react. That's the biggest challenge. You don't want to have to react with anything in life. You want to be proactive and stay ahead of the game and be so good at whatever you're doing that you're ahead of it, that you're not behind it. That's the ultimate key. So you want to figure out exactly what it is so you can give your body everything that it needs to function right? And it all starts with your eating patterns. Your lifestyle starts with the way you think, yes, but things like exercise and eating the right way, giving your body what it needs nutritionally, I mean, that's where it starts. So keep this in mind, is that you're only as healthy as the choices you make every single day. And if you've made some not so great choices over the years, it's no big deal. Like, it's not a reason to beat yourself up or anything like that. You just have to realize, hey, I've got to make some new ones. I've got to make some new choices. I've got to get better. And nothing's going to get better. Nothing will get better unless you get better. So that's where I would start. I would start with a good eating strategy, right? An anti-inflammatory based diet, which is basically this. It's equal amounts of lean protein sources like chicken, fish, beef, or eggs, low glycemic carbohydrates in the form of fruits and vegetables, and then healthy fats, your almonds, walnuts, cashews, avocados. Eating those kind of foods really is your starting point and can get you to a good place. Because otherwise, if you don't get the right kind of fats in, if you don't eat the right kind of foods, if you don't get the right nutrition in, your body's not going to thrive. And you want your body to be in a great place where you get everything you need, your body does well, and you can strengthen things like your immune system. So if you do have a mass somewhere, or the potential to not have that goes up. And here's the thing, if you haven't been doing the right kind of, making the right choices, if you haven't been doing that, that's okay. Because you can. And the big thing is you can start now. So if you need help, just get in touch with one of our providers. Go to the website too. That can be helpful. There's some tools and articles and things there that can get you started. Plus, we're giving away a free book. So if you want, you go to myfreehealthbook.com. I give you my book, my best-selling book, for free. All you do is just cover a little bit of shipping and handling, which is not much. So if you go there, go to myfreehealthbook.com, and we can get you a copy of the free book. That's got an eating plan in it. It's got a very basic one, but it's got kind of my philosophy. But it is a powerhouse book. I mean, the secrets and tips and tricks in that book it's like its own. It's just got everything. I mean, it is a master book to take you from A to Z with your health, everything from the natural perspective combined with evidence-based methods. I mean, it's got it all. So go to myfreehealthbook.com. I think picking up a copy of that would really, really get you started in the right direction. 888-283-7272. That's 888-283-7272. You're listening to the Asa Rx Experience. I'm Asa, right here with you each and every day. Let's get on the phones and talk to Alice. Hi, Alice.
I'm having some issues with my extremities, especially my lower extremities. Sometimes it gets cold and a burning sensation on the bottom of my feet, and at times a little numbness. And I am not diabetic, and it feels like I'm having some circulation problems. Do you have any suggestions?
There's several things you can look at, and yeah, I do. So with the issues like that, you want to start thinking about more of, instead of like a vascular issue, possibly nerve. So that there can be some pretty strong nerve conditions. Now, it could be cardiovascular in nature. However, a lot of times, it could be something so basic. It could be a vitamin B5 deficiency, which is it's pantothenic acid, basically. And it could be one of those deficiencies that could be causing a big issue there. The other thing to look at, and this, because a lot of people will call it plantar fasciitis, or it could be nerve related. And if it's coming from your lower back, see anything to do with the very lower part of your back or even the tailbone, those nerves travel into the bottom of your foot. And a lot of times you'll think, oh, my foot hurts. But the reality is your lower back is what's causing the issue. And if the lower back's not injured per se, but if there's been some degeneration in the disc and the disc space, then that could cause the pain that you're feeling down in the foot. So first things first is I would get to maybe a chiropractic physician. This is just their absolute specialty, non-surgical approach, because at the end of the day, if that care doesn't work and there is significant damage into a nerve, then yeah, you may have to do some kind of surgery. But in the interim, in the early stages, you want to, they are like the master of keeping you from having to go into any kind of surgery, especially from the spine. Like that is, without a doubt, I would get that looked at. There's testing they can do to verify it, make sure that it's nerve versus vascular. And then if it's just a nutritional deficiency, and you can easily build up from there. It just takes maybe 2 or 3 weeks to build the system back up, getting the right nutrition in. And a lot of times it can resolve.
Did you know that you can listen to the Asa Rx audio experience on Spotify and Pandora? For all the ways to watch and listen, check out our show page at asarx.com/experience.
Connect with On Call Radio and watch On Call TV at InShapeNetwork.com.
So what about hot flashes? Guys, this probably is not for you, right? But ladies, this is for you. I'm going to talk about some home remedies that can help with hot flashes. So if you deal with menopause, and sometimes, just so you know, hot flashes can happen in your 20s. You're thinking in my 20s. Yeah, it can happen if you have issues with the thyroid. Also, if you have blood sugar issues, you're on the borderline with diabetes, maybe pre-diabetes. You get into some blood sugar related issues, and hot flashes can be a norm for something like this. So let's get into some of the things that can help, and you can kind of pull out of your life or modify in your life if you have hot flashes, and maybe, just maybe, like I said, some home remedies that can possibly help. Number one, cut back on coffee. Caffeine is a stimulant. So foods and drinks that contain a lot of caffeine can aggravate hot flashes. Now, tea is not that big of a deal. It's about 15 milligrams of caffeine in a cup of tea, but coffee is about 80 milligrams. So you want to limit yourself to about 200 to 300 milligrams of caffeine per day, or about 1.5 cups of coffee. If you've been drinking more than that, cut back your intake gradually by slowly replacing caffeinated drinks with choices like water and decaf. Otherwise, you may develop headaches and you get a little fatigue from the withdrawal. Now, exercise is the other one that can help if you're dealing with hot flashes. Engaging in regular physical activity, they say, helps improve your overall health. But, of course, women who did yoga or other physical exercises 5 days a week for an hour they reduced the frequency of their hot flashes. So aim to get about 2.5 hours of moderate intensity aerobic exercise each week and get some muscle strengthening resistance exercises in about 2 days a week. You also want to consider black cohosh. Black cohosh is an herbal remedy. I used that for years in clinical practice, and it worked great. So this herbal remedy is made from the roots of a plant of the buttercup family. Okay, some studies have shown that it can relieve menopausal symptoms, including hot flashes. But the black cohosh is available in most health food stores. We've got it. Of course, you go to asarx.com. We've got products, amazing female product that's got in there that's all organic. That is really great. So if you go to asarx.com, that's a great place to get it. But the pills that contain black cohosh extract work really, really well. It's a great herb. Stop smoking, that's another one. So here's another reason to stop smoking. Menopausal women who smoke are more likely to experience hot flashes than their non-smoking counterparts. If you are smoking, you need help, let me give you just a basic number. There's a Stop Smoking Center that's really, really good. It's a quit line, which I love that concept of quitting smoking, not anything else. But 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-QUIT-NOW is the number. And they'll have a whole team there that can get you on a strategy and a plan for kicking the habit. Now, you can also do dietary changes if you deal with hot flashes. We're talking about hot flashes and ways to naturally take care of that. So ladies, listen up. This is definitely for you. And it's a big deal. So just to recap a little bit, you want to cut back on the coffee or the caffeine, keep it to about 200 milligrams a day, no more. Exercise regularly, 5 days a week, even 6 if you can push it. Look at black cohosh. Blue cohosh is good too. Stop smoking, of course, and dietary changes. So eating a variety of food sources with plenty of whole grains, fruits, and vegetables promotes a healthy weight, which can lead to a decrease in hot flashes. And consuming more protein-rich foods can also help. So just a couple of tips that can get in there that'll help with hot flashes. A lot of times you do too many carbohydrates, and if your sugar levels are too high, that's where the challenges come in. Okay, so also loosen your belt and your shirt and your pants, because tight clothes can make hot flashes seem more intense. So if you put away a lot of the form-fitting clothes, that can help tremendously. So that's another big one. Turn down the heat too. Avoid heated areas. So if you live in Florida, that's going to be a challenge. We love it down here though. Love it. So avoid heated situations. Literally keep the temperature comfortably cool in the bedroom while you sleep, and use fans during the day because, of course, you can always chill a hot flash. But those are some great ways to work around it. 888-283-7272. That's 888-283-7272. You're listening to the show that helps you live your potential. Let's get on the phones with Alexandra. Hi, Alexandra. It's a great name.
I can't seem to digest my food, even if it's something really, really light, like a salad. It takes hours. I've noticed that I have to eat at 2:30 in the afternoon in order to be able to sleep without throwing up in my sleep. And I just wanted to get some information about that.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it really happens over a period of time. But after the age of about 40, you start losing your body's ability to make hydrochloric acid. So hydrochloric acid, or HCl, is kind of a big deal, and getting enough of it. So when you're not breaking your proteins down, your foods down, that can be a challenge. And a lot of times people think, well, when you're spitting food back up, or if it comes back up, that that you don't have, that you have too much acid, or it's like acid indigestion or whatever. Usually, if you're belching your food back up, you don't have enough acid. You're not breaking your food down. So one is you want to stop drinking fluids while you eat. That's if you want to start maximizing what you do have. Don't drink a lot 30 minutes before a meal or 30 minutes after. Do your best to just eat the meal. Sip on a little something if you need it, but you really want your digestive juices and enzymes to kick in on their own. But if it's gotten to that point where it's really challenging, there is a really good kind of, and this is not evidence-based at all, but this is something that's been used in naturopathic medicine for a long time. And it's using apple cider vinegar, organic, of course, that's fermented, along with lemon and honey. So you take about 16 ounces of water, distilled water. You squeeze a whole lemon in there. Don't use lemon juice. Okay, a whole lemon, fresh lemon. Puts another hour in the charts. I want to thank our producer, Derek Allen, Mr. Fig, and John Garrison, our engineer. Go tell one person something you learned on the show. Together, we can transform the health of our friends, our families, and our communities. You're listening to the Asa Rx Experience.
Did you know you could listen to the Asa Rx audio experience on Spotify and Pandora? For all the ways to watch and listen, check out our show page at asarx.com/experience.
Hi, it's Asa. I'm giving you a copy of my best-selling book for free to help you in your health journey today. I'll pay for the book. All you do is just cover the small shipping and handling costs. Go to asarx.com and get your free book today.
This episode is over, but check episode notes for links to products and services you've heard about on this episode. Thanks for listening and subscribing. Please share the Asa Rx audio experience with others and stay in touch by giving us your comment or review.